However you come to the gold-covered bridge that leads to hell, you may find it guarded by a giantess. She will ask your name. She will ask your lineage. She will ask your business. The North tell of the warrior woman Brynhild, who leapt into fire and rode to hell to join her slain love Sigurd, and is challenged by the giantess.
The journey to Helheim is never a straight one. Each must find their own path. Align yourself to its secrets, and you will find yours.
Oh, Senua. Your father does not hate me. He just fears the souls in the underworld. He cannot see that they are already afraid. But I am their healer, and I must answer their cries for help, even if it displeases him.
Hela possesses large dwelling places in Helheim. Tall are her walls, high are her gates. The name of her dish is hunger. Her knife is famine. On her threshold all will stumble. Her bed is called sick bed, and her bed hangings are called flames of a funeral pyre. They say she is easy to recognize, half black, and half the color of flesh. And her face, menacing and grim.
It's opening.
Who is it? It's coming.
That song again.
Is it?
It's Hela.
Yes, the source of the darkness. It's coming. This is your moment.
I'm sorry. I can't watch this.
What are you doing? You're showing weakness. You're not a warrior. You're a disgrace. The gods will punish you for this. Pick up the sword. Pick it up. Fight the darkness. Fight it. Get up. Get up. Get up and fight.
Stormy seas and lost souls. She's dreamt of this before. They say dreams are visions of our memories, thoughts and fears, as seen by our inner eye. But what if each one of us is always dreaming, even when awake, and we only see what our inner eye creates for us? Is this what hell is? A world shaped by Senua's nightmares. Maybe that's why people feared seeing the world through her eyes. Because if you believe that Senua's reality is twisted, you must accept that yours might be too.
You failed the gods. You're pathetic. Rotten. Cursed. What were you thinking? Did you really think you could win? How stupid can you be?
So stupid.
Everyone hates her. She's cursed.
The shadow hates.
Look at you. A warrior. Worthless. Weak. Pathetic. Go on. Feel sorry for yourself, because there's no one left to do that for you.
Everywhere. You failed. What's that?
Take it. If you're too much of a coward to fight, then end the suffering. Broken and lost. Just like your sword.
Come on. There.
Why go on when you give everything and face that which torments you, only to find that it is worse than you could have imagined? Why go on? Is Is it really so weak to ask this? Or are we just so afraid of the honest answer that we do not dare pose the question? Sometimes the answer lies in a memory, a feeling, a song.
It's not real. It's a trick. It's not real. It is real. Listen to it. She can
Don't
hear
give
it.
up.
Dillian, it's
Not like this.
It's not real. It is real. It's a trick. Don't trust it. Maybe you're already dead.
Who are you?
Do you still believe in me, Senua?
No, it's
Enough.
It's a trick. She knows it's a trick. He's already dead. He can't be here. It's impossible.
Come to me. Please.
The light. Go towards the light. It's him. There he is. It can't be him. It's just a trick. It's in your mind. No, he's here. It's in your mind. It's real. It's happening. Go towards it. There it is. You're imagining this. Dillian. It's Dillian. He's gone. He's too slow. How could you? Keep going. How could you? Keep going. Ignore the pain. I told you it wasn't a trick. I told you. Where are you going? See, there's nothing to follow. Come on.
Before she first met him, she was not in a good place. Just a teenager, but not like the others. Barely functioning, she rarely left the house. Her father, Zinbal, made sure of that. Only occasionally did she venture out on her own, collecting firewood and herbs. Errands out in the Orkney Plains. That was her world. Like this one. Barren and lonely.
Getting stronger. You're getting stronger.
Senua, there will be times that you will feel alone and exhausted, like a strange little fish swimming against the tides of the big ocean. But have the faith to let go and let the tide carry you away. Because the whole ocean is your home, and it does not ask you to swim against it.
It's already disappeared.
Nothing lives here, not even you. It's in your mind. You think you can see it, but it's in your mind.
There's the truth.
There he was, the lone figure of a boy.
He's there, under the tree.
Swordplay under the shade of a tree.
See him. There he is. Come on, you have to
She remembers the first time she saw him. To her young eyes, he moved as if dancing, and the world danced with him.
He's there.
The glue
He's there.
lifted.
Under the tree.
For the first time in years, she felt.
You have to keep
The Northmen tell of a great hero. His name is Sigmund. His father's hall was built around a great tree, and one day Odin comes and thrusts a sword into the tree, a gift to whomever can release it. Many try, but the sword only comes out at Sigmund's touch. His brother-in-law, King Siggeir, wants it, but Sigmund refuses him, so King Siggeir plots revenge. He invites Sigmund and his brothers to a feast, but when they arrive, they are met with an army, not a warm welcome. King Siggeir captures Sigmund and his brothers, steals his coveted sword, and readies them for execution. Death for Sigmund and his brothers seems certain. But the king's wife is Sigmund's sister, and she begs for mercy and implores the king to chain them up instead. He agrees. Not for mercy, though, but because he plans an even more cruel and lingering death. Chained to a tree in the forest that night, a she-wolf comes and devours one of Sigmund's brothers. She returns, ravenous, night after night, until only Sigmund is left. The next day, Sigmund's sister sends a serpent with honey to smear on Sigmund's face. But to what end? Well, that night, when the she-wolf appears again, you'll never guess what happens. As the she-wolf licks the sweet honey from Sigmund's face, he bites the wolf's tongue. The she-wolf pulls away, but Sigmund holds on. The chains break, and he is free. After his escape, Sigmund lives like us, hidden in the forest. His enemy, King Siggeir, believing him dead, as his sister plots revenge. And for vengeance to succeed, even the great Sigmund needs help. So she sends her sons to him. But their blood is weak and corrupted, and they're put to death by Sigmund. So his sister hatches a new plan, one that is cold of heart and pure of blood.
Day after day, watching from afar, she mimicked him, perfecting her own secret dance, wishing those fleeting moments of light would stretch out to last forever.
Sigmund's sister trades shapes with a sorceress, and in disguise, she lies with her own brother. She gives birth to a son named Sinfjotli. After a time, she sends him to the forest to Sigmund. He tests the boy and finds him strong and fearless, and so they go to take their vengeance on King Siggeir. Luck is not on their side. They're captured, and Siggeir has them buried alive.
It's a trick. It's an illusion. It's not real. Different. You want to believe it's real, but it's a trick. You're deluded. Where are you going? Where is she going? What is she following? You can't even fight. It's just deception.
How does he so effortlessly court the world and bliss? If only she could do the same. See the world through eyes anew and dance with it, just like he does.
What's your name?
Senua.
I haven't seen you before.
I don't leave home much.
Oh, Zenua's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait. Who taught you to fight like that?
No one.
No one?
Well, I watched you, and
You learned all of that from watching me? You should become a warrior, you know.
me?
I'm Dillian. I'm here for the warrior trials. Just come and watch. And bring your sword.
You can't put it into words. That moment when you look into the eyes of the one who is supposed to reassure you, make you feel safe. It only takes an instant. Fear swallows you before you have a chance to make sense of it. And darkness becomes a part of who you are. But her world changed the day the Northmen took him from her. Senua knows that there's no going back to how things were. That there's nothing to go back to at all.
Stay still, stay quiet, hide, don't tell her.
Their gods can see into your mind. They will use this power to destroy
They
you.
won't stop me. I can still feel him.
Whatever's left of him, they will never let him go.
I'm not gonna let him rot here.
You're the one rotting here.
Leave me alone.
You will die here.
No.
And all your suffering will have been for nothing.
Shut up! Dillian? Is that you? I'll find you, man. I promise.
Can you see him? You want to believe it. Is he not real? Is he there? You're alone in these mountains. Is that Dillian? Nothing lives here.
Это не руна.
Maybe it's a sign. The tree. What's he trying to tell you? He's waiting for you by the tree.
Вон, значит, руна. И нет, это не руна. Вон руна. Что?
Меч вытащи.
Он не вытащится.
Ну попытайся.
Зачем? Что, нельзя руну сначала посмотреть?
As Sigmund and Sinfjotli are being buried alive, Sigmund's sister throws an armful of straw into the grave mound. Hidden in the straw is Sigmund's sword, the gift of Odin. They cut their way out of the grave mound and set fire to Siggeir's hall. The king burns to death. Sigmund calls to his sister to come out so that she may live and be honored. She does come out, but only to tell him the truth. That she had slept with him, her brother, to beget a strong avenger. I am not fit to live, she says, and walks back into the fire. Strike vengeance from your heart, Senua, as there is always a heavy price to pay.
Сейчас посмотрим. Как кто-то сказал, да, что, основываясь на поговорках, что месть сладка и месть — это блюдо, которое подают в холодном виде, мы делаем вывод, что месть — это мороженое.
Да.
Да?
Да.
And here is the end of Sigmund's story. He was a fierce and great warrior who fought many battles. But one day, an old man came onto the battlefield. Although shadowed by a hood, Sigmund saw that he only had one eye. The man raised his spear, and Sigmund struck at it with his sword, but the sword shattered into pieces. Sigmund then knew that this was Odin, and thus that victory could not be his. He bowed his head and accepted his end. Dying, he tells his wife that she is with child, and that her son will one day make a great weapon out of the fragments of his sword. The sword named Gram.
Imagine a sword that can slay gods. Its name is Gramr. It was forged by the god of all Northmen, Odin, and gifted to Sigmund, a great warrior.
I need this sword. It's important. Can you help me?
The sword appears whole, but it is an illusion. It shattered into shards long ago. It is said a great warrior can reforge Gramr by answering the trials of Odin, one for each shard. The roots of the Tree of Death will take you to new lands where you will face the trials.
Какой хитрожопый Один, да? Меч может разить всех, кроме него самого.
Да.
Ладно, чё, в какую пойдем сначала? Хочешь в крайнюю правую?
Меча, да.
Так, стой. А вон туда я не могу. Ну, значит, сюда. Вот сюда, да? Фокус? Фокус.
A king in the north forced the dwarves to make a sword that would never fail and never rust, and that would slice through iron and stone and bring victory to its bearer. But the angry dwarves cursed it. It would be the death of a man every time it was drawn, and it would be the death of the king. Let me tell you about the sword Tyrving.
I don't recognize this place. Where are we? Where is she?
It feels wrong. Where are we now? Burial mound. So strange that we go to such lengths to bury death. Something so very ordinary, inevitable. It's as if we conspire to hide death, because we have no answer for it. But when it comes and forces itself onto our friends or loved ones, then comes the reckoning.
Senua, you remind me of a story that the Northmen tell about a young woman warrior. Her name is Hervor, the daughter of a berserker, born after he was killed. She's a wild, willful child who teaches herself to fight with weapons. When she learns where her father is buried, her only desire is to reclaim the treasure buried with him, but above all, the sword, Tyrving.
Так, это что, сейчас бегать от огненной хрени?
Нет, это разумеется.
Ну, а в конце него бегать от огненной хрени.
Разве?
По-моему, да.
Тебе говорит, куда идти?
Направо, по-моему.
Go in. You have to go in. Take the torch. It's too dark. Take it. This will help you. You have to be able to see.
Who's there?
Тут что-то зажечь? А, нет, тут, по-моему,
Lillian,
ничего
I'm here.
зажечь нельзя.
I'm here for the
В
trials.
следующем вроде
Like when
можно.
we first met, remember? I'll find him.
Ага. И налево.
What's that? Did you hear that? Nothing. Was that voices?
Ну, говорят, что я не tуда иду.
Voices dead. Not Dillian. Dillian's calling to you. Can you hear him? Where is he?
Говорит, Дилиан в другом месте.
Ну да, Дилан.
Herver disguises herself as a man to join a band of warriors, and soon becomes their leader. When they come to the island where her father is buried, her men do not want to go ashore. They say that evil haunts the island, and that it is a worse place by day than other places are by night. Fearless, she lands alone. There are many grave mounds, and all of them have ghostly flames burning over them. She comes to the grave mound of her father after passing through these ghostly fires, as though they were mist. The flames I passed through were real enough. Damn the Northmen to hell.
Возвращаемся в место, где факел зашли. И идем налево. Да, там у нас мы шли налево. Ага.
Don't touch the walls. You don't know what they might do. Turn back. She has to keep going. It's not safe here. She has to keep going. If you go down there, no one can save you. It's too scary.
I can hear him.
Within the burial mound, Herver calls on her father to wake from death and bring her his sword. She says that it is not seemly for the dead in their grave mounds to bear valuable weapons. Her father answers with words of warning. You go to your doom. Baleful runes surround you. You have gone mad. You have lost your mind. Your thoughts are confused. It is dangerous to wake the dead. Like I said, she reminds me of you.
The voice is getting louder. Listen, Dillian. Listen, listen, listen. It's him. Listen.
А, да, здесь какая-то замута со щитами, я помню.
Keep going. Senua, follow the voice. You're nearly there. Dillian.
А я там не зажигал, что ли?
He's going to save you. Find the voice. Find him.
И тут не зажигал.
It's not him. It's not him. We told you. We told you it was a trick.
Налево. И направо.
Туда же приду, если налево пойду.
That voice doesn't sound like Dillian. What's happening? It's not him. It can't be. What's that sound? The voice is changing. What? That's not Dillian.
Herver ignores her father's warnings. The grave mound opens, and it seems to be full of fire. Again, Herver demands her inheritance, but her father warns her that the sword is cursed and would be the bane of her family. But he relents and brings her the sword. She leaves the island with it, but the curse holds true, and death would follow in the years to come. And so, Senua, the misdeeds of a father have cursed his daughter.
У нее есть язык. В смысле, даже когда она молчит.
Quiet. He wants me to find him. I'm lost without him. That voice. It's not Dillian. Dillian wants me to face my fears.
Кто это, Хелла? Или кто? С кем она сейчас говорить будет? А, отец.
I'm leaving. I've decided. I think it will be good for me.
It's the darkness. It's speaking through
No,
you.
Dad, it's me. I think I can beat it. In my own way.
I can see the darkness in your eyes, child.
I met a boy.
Boy.
The chief himself.
No.
He said he could help me.
It's a trick.
He said I could be normal.
Normal?
Yes.
No boy is going to save you. No one can. When they see the rot growing inside you,
No.
they will turn their back on you. The gods can only fix you through my hand. You're going nowhere.
No.
You will not defy the gods. Come, child, take my hand. Come, Senua.
I am leaving.
You cannot escape the darkness. Your curse will make everyone suffer. You will have blood on your hands!
Ну, кстати, в чем-то он прав. Руки у нее по локоть в крови. Да? Так. Чё, идем дальше. По правой стороне получается. Так, с этой руной мы уже общались. Блин, потом назад бежать придется. Ну ладно, чё. Почему бы и нет?
I saw once a plague strike northern lands of ice. It was so terrible that not the oldest man among us could remember the like. Hundreds died. The sickness took nearly every person younger than 40, and many older. And where dying mothers gave birth, the marks of the plague were on the babes as they came out of the womb.
Where are we? I don't like it. This place feels...
What is this place?
It's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It feels wrong. It feels strange. Where is it? Where are we?
Воняете.
There he is.
О, зелен.
The light. Go towards it. He's in the house. He's going in. He's disappearing. Follow him. Don't let him disappear.
It's a test. Like the old warrior trials. Dillian will help me.
Just one little test to do.
The stench of rot. She can almost taste it. Do you smell it? No. Don't worry. Not everyone can. It was a warm spring day when she went to the river with Dillian and the others. But the water. She could taste the rot. But no one else could. She knew something was wrong. Something sinister. She begged them to leave, but they just laughed at her. But soon enough, as the bodies piled up, no one was laughing. And they knew that she was not like that.
The bridge.
Мост.
It's broken. Fix it. You have to fix it. How are you going to fix it? You can't get to the house until the bridge is fixed. You must. Now you have to find him. Quick, get to the house. Get to the house and finish this trial. It doesn't finish until you get to the house. Before he disappears, Senua. You have to get in.
The Northmen speak of a death moon, a light shaped like a half moon that appears inside a house and goes around the walls. I once saw the death moon appear at a farm, and first the shepherd died, then a guest died, and then the farm hands, and then the farmer and 6 of his men drowned at sea. But that is not the end of it, because the dead return to haunt the living. If you see the death moon, then beware, because there will be death in that house.
В странном месте загорелась руна. Как будто не по порядку.
That's it. You did it. She did it. It's not done yet. Just a small piece of the puzzle. You found a way to climb the tower. A ladder. Quick. What now? You can see it. Aligned to the truth. The bridge. She did it. She did it. She fixed it. You passed the trial. Get to the house. You succeeded.
Ух ты. В домик-то так-то не хочется идти. Он какой-то не очень.
Senua! Come to me! Where are you?
I'm here! I'm right here!
Are you in there?
Where is he?
Come out if you are.
You have to find him. The runes. Focus on the runes.
А, вот.
Come on. They are the key.
There was a Northman called Grettir. Big, red-haired, immensely strong. But he was afraid of the dark. It happened one night that an undead creature came to his house to drag him outside into darkness and kill him. He resisted with every ounce of his strength. He clung to the doorframe, but it gave way, and they spilled out of the house, and the monster fell back, and the moon shone down on its ghastly face. Grettir, terrified, cuts off its head, but is cursed forever. From that moment on, wherever he was, he would see those hideous eyes staring back at him. Sometimes we allow our own fear to haunt us to our grave.
What's that sound?
They're coming for me!
Go to him. Dillian. Go to him. Dillian doesn't sound. He's trying to save you. Don't let it see. It is. It's close. It's close. Move away. Senua, move away. Feel it. You'll run. Run now. Run. It's not safe here.
Не смог.
You came through the wrong door. Where's your sword?
What shall I do?
Интересно, почему не смог считать?
You're dying. You're lost. You're dying. This is what
Близко кто стоял?
Go towards it. Focus. 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 Look. Focus. Two more.
Ну что, слева? Слева.
Don't let it see. Don't get lost. Don't let it see. You'll start to burn. You'll burn. There it is. Move away. Don't let it look quick. Where's Dillian? Where is he? This is taking too long to find. One more. One more. Don't get lost.
Тупик?
Find the other symbol. You're lost.
Нет.
Look at you. Where is he?
Направо пошел, да? Да. Ага, свет. Так, здесь не пройти, здесь не пройти. Здесь не пройти. Так, он сейчас справа от меня. Ага, вот свет. Так, он справа идет. Так, дверь. Вот.
Senua!
Senua! What happened?
They're blaming me for the plague. They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
How would they know such a thing?
Are they gods? None of us are. They're just people. Good people, but they're scared. They're afraid of what they can't see. Like children scared of the dark. They make up stories to fill the void. That doesn't make them true.
What if my father was right?
You have to step out of this darkness. Let them see who you really are, like I have. You're not a monster.
Without you, this darkness has made me a monster.
What if this is pointless? What if you're wrong? What does this have to do with the sword? What if we're wrong? The sword will never be yours. What if this is the end? It's just a trick. It's just a pointless test. You've been fooled before. You could be fooled again. You don't know. It's just their game for you. You never know which way it's going to go.
I want to tell you a story about a god of the Northmen called Balder. The second son of Odin. He was beautiful, good and wise. He was fair of feature, he spoke fair words, he gave fair judgments. Light shone from him. Only good things were told of him. Yet he was the first of the gods to die.
You want to see what the mask sees? No, she doesn't. Don't look close. The mask is here to watch you fail. What is this? It's the same. It's another world. The bridge. It's not broken. It's fixed. What happened? The bridge is fixed. Let's cross it.
The Northmen tell this story about the death of Balder. It begins with dark dreams. Night after night, Balder dreams of his own death, and the gods fear for his life. So Balder's mother makes everything in the world: fire, water, iron, stone, earth, wood, beasts, birds, serpents, poison, sickness. Swear an oath not to harm her son. One by one, they each make their vow. Neither weapons nor wood will injure him, Balder's mother boasts. Only Loki, father of Hela, the mistress of death, is not amused.
Don't forget. You can feel it.
Интересно, почему он был недоволен?
You need the runes to fight Dillion.
Ну да, он всегда чем-нибудь недоволен, да.
He's waiting for you. He always said he's close. He's close. He loves you. Calling you. Dillion. Dillion, we're here. Dillion. We're nearly here. Go through it. It's dangerous. Follow it. What's behind the gate? Where will it take you? It's not safe. Dillion, there he is. There he is. What are you waiting for? Quick, find a way. Find him. Go through. Where is he? Where's he gone? We're in the wrong world. He's not here. She's in the wrong world. He's not in this world. He's in the other one. He's in the other one. He's in the dark world. The dark world.
The world once seemed so simple. Black and white. Darkness and light. Narrow dividing lines of our own making. Dillion taught her to see further. To peek through the cracks and see the worlds of colour stretching away from the gloom. And Senua explored new paths into the unknown.
The gods feast and rejoice and amuse themselves by throwing spears and stones at Balder, striking at him with sword and axe. But he comes to no harm, whatever they do. The gods never cease to wonder at this great marvel. But Loki shapes himself into a woman and asks Balder's mother, "Is it really true that all things promise to keep him safe?" "I did not ask the mistletoe," Balder's mother confesses. "I thought it was too young." Oh dear.
Everything to him.
He saw who she could be.
He saw who she really was.
He saw the warrior within.
Do you remember the way he touched you?
You can't go up
You
there.
can't go up
Not
there.
in this world.
Not in this world. You can't. Do you think she remembers him?
Я что-то не так делаю.
Senua, you've got it.
Why isn't he here? Do you remember meeting him
He's gone.
beneath the tree?
He's in the dark world. He's gone to the dark world.
You're in the wrong world.
He's in the other world.
The dark world.
Without you. You squashed it to strip
The curse cannot be.
Угу. Тут проход завален. Ну ладно. Значит, через главный ворот пойдем.
precious to you.
Не-не, пройдем. Ну, должны. Вроде открыли. О, как.
There he is.
Where are you taking him? He's up there. There's a
Так.
way.
А вот эту руну я, по-моему, не это.
Way up there.
Не активировал. Да.
You're nearly there. Just find the way.
Loki makes a dart out of mistletoe and goes to the gods as they throw things at Balder. The blind god, Huth, was there. Loki asks him why he wasn't taking pollen. Huth says, "I cannot see where Balder stands, and even if I could see him, I have no weapon." Loki replies, Here is a wand. I will tell you where he stands. And Huth throws the mistletoe at Balder. It pierces through him, and to everyone's horror, Balder is killed. And for this, Huth is slain.
Look what happens to the things you love.
Пикс. Надо собрать. Надо собрать. Ну, как-то так. Мозаика. О.
The Northmen tell how the gods mourned Balder. His body was to be burnt on his ship, but they could not manage to push it into the sea, and sent for a giantess to do it. She comes riding a wolf and has vipers for her reins. She pushes Balder's ship into the sea with such force that the ground shakes and the rollers burst into flames. When Balder's wife sees his body carried onto the ship, her heart bursts with grief, and she dies. She's put next to her husband, and the pyre is lit, sending the dead to hell. But even so, the gods cannot accept his death.
Какие упертые боги.
She thought she had light within her. She is pure, dark.
Years had passed since she left her father. She trained hard alongside her friend, Dillian. She saw things no one else could. Patterns, shapes, movement. An intuition that made her an exceptional warrior. Friendship turned to love. But the shadow of darkness never let her go, and she was caught between two worlds. That of Zinbel and her past, and Dillian, her future. Two realities tearing at her soul.
Your curse has claimed Dillian. Poor Dillian. He didn't know. He was kind. Last, have no time for this. Speak. These rooms mean nothing. It's all part of their game. They've set you trials to distract you. They've set you up, and now they're going to watch you. What if these trials mean nothing? It's laughing at you.
Пойду-ка я вниз, там же тоже стоит лицо. Может быть, я какую-то руну уже пропустил. Не руну, а эту. Ну да, руну. Только для открытия двери. И да, пропустил. Она где-то тут. По-моему, тень какая-то. А, во. Так, нужно как-то ее... Как-то выставить. Как-то... О, вот так.
Overcome with grief, the gods send Hermod to ride to Hell and ask Hela to let Balder return home. All the gods are weeping, he says. Are they? Asks Hela. We shall see if he is truly missed. If everything in the world will weep for him, he shall go back to the gods. But if even one thing refuses, Balder stays with me. The gods send messengers everywhere. Weep for Balder, weep him out of hell. And everything wept. Men, beasts, earth, stone, trees, metal, everything. Except for a giantess they found in the cave. Balder was never my friend, she says. Let hell keep what she has.
С другой, да.
The Northmen say that the giantess must have been Loki in disguise.
He was the only one she could trust. Could she trust him?
Да что такое? Давай, перемещай.
Dillian doesn't know who killed him, but we do.
Что говоришь? Нет, надо, мне просто на ту сторону нужно перейти. Но там заблокирована вон та дверь в том мире, а в этом мире вот этот, ну, нету моста, поэтому нужно было дверь открыть. Сейчас перейдем. Потом придется опять вернуться назад, потому что руна в том мире. Короче. Видишь, теперь стены нету этой, на которой было нарисовано. Дырка была, короче, определенным образом прорублена.
The Northmen tell how the gods punished Loki for Baldur's death. They captured him and took him to a cave. They fetched his 2 sons and turned one into a wolf, and he ripped his brother apart. The gods used Loki's own son's entrails to tie him down, and turned these bonds to iron, and dangled a poisonous serpent over his face, so that its venom would drip onto him. Each time the venom drips onto Loki's face, he writhes in agony. The Northmen say that is the cause of earthquakes. A reminder, perhaps, that if even gods must accept death, then so must we.
Так интересно, они убили бога, кинувшего дротик, но не стали разбираться, а потом решили наказать Локи. Откуда они узнали? Короче, что-то какая-то мутная история.
Да.
Слепого бога я имею в виду.
What if they don't actually make sense? The gods were lying. If you think it makes sense, but really the gods are playing with you. It makes sense in your mind, but it doesn't make sense with words. It doesn't mean anything. You can't read this language, you don't understand. Sinbel was right. You're wasting time. You're cursed. You'll succeed. So, quicker. Dillian!
Давай. Чё стоишь?
Very, very careful.
Dillian never much cared for the underworld and looked dimly upon the druids, like her father, Sinbel. I guess he took after his father, a chieftain who believed nothing he couldn't see, and he happened to be blind. She felt safe in Dillian's arms, learned to see the world through his eyes. Slowly, the darkness that had bound her so tightly began to unravel.
Be quick. Be quick. Careful. Don't.